everyone, welcome. I didn't have much of a plan coming into this video, so I thought I would show you guys everything that I've been loving recently and also a couple new products. But before we move on, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. So if you missed my last video, I did a review of the Haus Triclone Skin Tech foundation. It is literally my new favorite foundation. I got this in the shade 260 light medium cool, and you guys, this does have a pump. I didn't realize in my last video that this had a pump until someone pointed it out, because I thought you just twist it open like that, but apparently not. You can just take the cap off. Here's 260 light medium cool. This is literally the most perfect shade match for me. I did order online and I try to go through as many videos as I can on like medium skin tones to try and pinpoint the closest match for my skin. And 9 times out of 10 I don't have a problem figuring out my shade online and then ordering it. The reason I love this foundation so much is that it literally just does the work for you. Blends out so easily. It gave me really beautiful like light to medium coverage. It gives you the most insane blurred skin, and you literally can't tell that I'm wearing any foundation. But if you compare from the no foundation side to the foundation side, it's like it's a seamless coverage. This is like the definition of your skin, but better. Even though the brush did a really good job of blending the foundation, I still like to go over with a sponge just to push everything into the skin. This is about the coverage that I love on a day-to-day basis. And the thing I love most about the finish of this foundation is that you're able to get a really nice medium coverage, but you can't tell that you're wearing a lot of foundation or makeup. So I can get away wearing a higher coverage with this foundation every day, and it looks like I'm not really wearing much. Another one that I've been wearing every single day has been the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. This is in the shade Medium Sand. It's actually pretty close to my skin tone, but it's just slightly warmer, like slight orangey undertones, so it actually does a really good job of concealing and correcting. And I again love this for the fact that it's so high coverage but looks skin-like, and it actually reminds me of my Dior Skin Correct concealer. It's just so full coverage and creamy and hydrating. I used to use a makeup sponge for doing my concealer before, but lately I've really gotten into using these concealer brushes. I feel like I can control my application better, and I am 33 years old, so I feel like I am not enjoying higher coverage or a lot of products sitting on my skin lately, and I just feel like less looks better on the skin. And then when I use a sponge to initially blend out my concealer, I feel like it just goes everywhere, and then I'm not able to concentrate coverage where I want to or sheer it out where I want to. Like, you saw what was on my hand, and I was able to use all of that precisely in the areas that I needed it to perfectly conceal what I needed to. After using the brush, I will go over with the sponge again. Then if I'm feeling a little bit extra, which I am today, I go in with my Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade Sand. It's slightly lighter, and this one I apply a couple dots exactly where I need it to, and I use this more for like highlighting and not actually concealing. So I'm just putting it in the areas that I sort of want to highlight. And then I go ahead and blend it out. So this one is nice because it's not like a heavy coverage. It's pretty lightweight, but it's just gonna give me like that added brightness in the center. But it's also not like so much brighter than my skin tone that it's gonna make it look really harsh. It's not much, but you can see the difference of how nicely it sort of brings a bit more dimension to the face. For this reason, I actually don't bring a lot of my first concealer onto like my nose and forehead and stuff, because I don't actually need a lot of coverage on my nose and forehead. I just need some brightening. For cream contour, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Halo Glow Contour Wand. This is in the shade Medium Tan. First time trying it on camera right now. So I'm going to put it on the back of my hand, and I'm just putting that on my Patrick Ta contour brush, and I'm trying to really like work it into the brush so that I get an even application. All right, let's see how oh, that's pretty pigmented. yeah, I think that's as pigmented as I thought it was gonna be, which then was kind of silly of me because I went in with a lot. I got too excited. It is a pretty nice color. It's a good undertone. It's not too warm or too cool. Frick. This is so much contour. I'm gonna take my foundation brush and just sort of blend out those edges. It's too much, which is actually crazy because I have not been into bronzer a lot lately, at least not in like a harsh way, because as I age, I'm starting to get those hollowing of my cheeks. So when I add the same amount of bronzer that I've been used to wearing for the past decade, I notice that I'm starting to look a bit more gaunt and I don't like it. Okay, so that's more my speed. So some days I opt to not even wear bronzer and just wear blush because I feel like it's a more youthful look, especially when you're starting to lose volume in your face. This is why you have to tailor makeup application to your own face, because not every step is going to flatter your face shape, or you have to modify the way that you apply it, the shape in which you apply it, or even the amount that you use, so it's actually accentuating your features instead of bringing out the worst of your features. I've just bronzed the perimeter of my face and now I'm contouring my nose. So you guys noticed that I didn't take concealer over my eyelid, and lately I never do because I tend to put bronzer or like darker eyeshadow on top anyway, so it's kind of a useless step. And then I can use my natural pigmentation to act as an eyeshadow base. So yeah, that bronzer built up and added definition really nicely there. I might take a little bit under. After I sheared it out, it actually turned out to be a really nice shade, and it's not too warm and not too cool. It's perfectly neutral for my olive undertone. A lot of you might love how pigmented it is. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of really pigmented products because I like to build up color as I go. So if something is really pigmented, I like to go for a lighter shade of it so I don't have to be too careful with how I apply it. I looked at the shade that is lighter than this one and I think it looked a little bit too cool. I'm not too sure, I don't remember. I'll have to look again. The other thing was I feel like after I put it on, it sort of dried a little bit on the edges, so it was really hard to like keep blending it out. So I had to go over with like a bit of my foundation on my brush and concealer to get it to be this blend. Compared to other cream bronzers I have, this definitely took a little bit more work, but I'll keep playing with it and I'll see how it goes. Next is another e.l.f. product. It is the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush in the shade Dusty Rose. Now I have already actually tried this one a few times and so I'm used to it. It is very pigmented, so I put a couple dots on my hand and I blended it out first so I can get an even application, and I'm just going in with this like dense angled blush brush or foundation brush and I'm patting that on. It is such a beautiful color. I purposefully got a shade that is pretty light because I knew how pigmented this was going to be from other reviews that I saw, and I just wanted a shade that was going to be pretty soft and natural, but this is so beautiful. Blended out seamlessly and easily. It's like not too heavy and it's just really pretty. It didn't go patchy at all. It didn't catch anywhere. A lot of you are probably wondering if this is a dupe of the Rare Beauty liquid blush. I personally think they are slightly different. Don't get me wrong, they are very close in feel and formula. However, I find the Rare Beauty one to be just slightly a touch more buttery to blend, and though I find that both of them are long lasting, I do find that this e.l.f. one has a slight more like sticky set down feeling to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they're both just slightly more different. But if you are looking for a dupe for the Rare Beauty blush, I think this one is a pretty dang close one. Isn't that the most stunning blushed color? It's like a neutral pink, so it's not pulling too warm or too cool. This is going to be a really flattering one for medium olive skin tones, and even if you use a little bit too much, the fact that it's not like a deeper color is going to blend out so nicely. The other one that I would be interested to try is the mauve one. That one's probably going to be perfect for like medium deep skin tones. I always put the residual on my eyelids just to tie all the colors in together. So crazy story with the next product. Not long back I saw a video on the Instagram page from Winged Beauty, which is run by I think her name is Anthea, and she did a video comparing the Huda Beauty pink versus I think a yellow undertone powder, and then I commented what we really need is a peach powder, and I had no idea that Huda already had one in the works. So if you guys are not already aware, Huda Beauty came out with a new shade of her famous Easy Bake loose powders, and it's in this shade Peach Pie. So it is a pretty light shade, but it does have a peachier undertone than her other powders, which are more like yellower when they're this light. And then she's also got that pink brightening one, but honestly, if you're using a pink brightening powder and you have a very yellow or deeper skin tone, pink is gonna look gray on you, which is why peach is perfect when you have a warmer to medium deeper complexions. I got the little baby bake one because I really don't need a ton more powder. It's really hard for me to go through powder because I have dry skin and I don't use a lot. So you just turn this thing to open it up, and then when you do, there's this little puff in here. It's not really, I don't find it very useful, but it just looks like this inside. I like to like pour a little bit of powder onto my hand because I find it the easiest way to pick up this powder. I'm gonna try and show you this without it falling. So that's the shade. It's not quite yellow, it's not quite pinky or ashy. It really is a nice peach shade, and you can tell that it's picking up like similar undertones from my palm, which is fantastic. This is also the first time that I've used the Huda Beauty loose powders. Again, I just don't use a lot of powders, and I already had so many powders that I never really found a reason to get it. Let me tell you, I was shooketh. Okay, so I just got a little bit on my brush, and it's quite translucent, so it's not going to be like super brightening. But firstly, the shade alone did a really good job of just evening out my under eyes. It doesn't look too ashy or too yellow or too dark or anything. It's just the perfect amount of brightness and setting down. But it just overall does a really good job of setting my under eye perfectly without adding any sort of other weird color. And then to add to that, I finally get why people are so freaking crazy over this powder. This is like the smoothest, fluffiest powder that I've used aside from my Givenchy powder. That one is definitely the lightest and smoothest, but this is pretty dang close. Like, I have dry skin and I don't find this heavy feeling at all. Like, I figure if you obviously use too much, you are gonna find it heavy, like if you bake with it or something. But to me, this is just so perfect. It feels like feather, and you don't even really need a lot to set your makeup down, especially if you have dry skin. I do feel like I use quite a bit more powder than I usually do, and it still just looks so not dry, but still blurred and perfected, and I love the undertone. I've definitely been reaching for this one every single day. For bronzer, I'm using my Pat McGrath bronzer in the shade Bronze Dawn. Remember how I said I'm not using a lot of contrast in my bronzer, or I don't like using a lot of bronzer? Well, this is the perfect shade for that. It's just slightly deeper than my skin tone. It does have a bit more warmth than the neutral bronzers I usually like, but it actually works because in contrast to my skin, this is not super pigmented, so it's a very light wash of that warmth. So because I'm trying to combat like shadowiness with hollowing of my face, I like to add a little bit more warmth to my face because I do find that the neutral bronzers are starting to make me look a bit more hollow or gaunt. This is the smoothest matte powder formula bronzer that I've used. It's really good, and yeah, no complaints. I'll take it over my eyelids as always. Honestly guys, taking a little bit of bronzer through your entire eyelid and crease just does so much for adding a crazy amount of definition for not a lot of work. I don't really use highlighters day to day anymore. I just feel like it's another extra step. On an everyday basis, I don't like to look too highlighty, so I generally tend to lean towards more like glowy blushes so I can get it all in one go. And lately I've been running to my Wet n Wild blush in the shade Pearlescent Pink. I depotted it into this pan, but it's a really beautiful like pinky coral shade with gold flecks in it. I just do a light wash of that over my face. Have you guys seen the new Patrick Ta spring collection for his blush and lip gloss? His new blushes and lip glosses, they look so stunning. You guys know that She's Blushing is my favorite blush shade and blush formulation of all time. And he always comes in with like these really bold blush shades, and this time he came out with more softer shades. So I really just wanted them all, and I'm not gonna lie, I did order one. I did. I think it was called the She's Just Enough, which is supposed to be kind of similar to the She's Blushing, but it's a lot lighter. And I wanted to get one and try it out for you guys, but I also wanted to get a shade that I know that I would get use out of. So that's the one that I got. But I think the star of that collection was supposed to be the She's the Moment, which happens to look kind of like the shade that I'm using. I mean, obviously without the glitter. It's supposed to be this kind of like corally shade with a little bit of pinkiness to it. And I generally don't like corally or peachy shades for my skin because I feel like it doesn't really do much for my skin tone and just kind of looks like I got a suntan. But when it is this coral with a pinky undertone, it just brightens up your skin so much. My rosy pinks are still my favorite for medium olive undertones, but this is still so pretty. And yeah, it gave me that like sheen without having to add a highlighter, and it's not like blinding or crazy or anything. It just makes your face look healthy. I'm pretty sure they still sell this shade, so if you guys are at like Walmart or something, go pick this up. I think I got it for like $4 or $5 some years ago, might be a little bit more now, but yeah, it's so worth it. Always go over with a sponge after every step just to melt in all the products together. I haven't been doing much eye makeup or eyeliner day to day, but I do like to use a mascara. I recently picked up the L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara again. This is kind of a foolproof mascara for me. The mascaras I've been using for the last 6 months or so haven't been doing it for me. They've been pretty like smudgy. The last one I think I really liked was the Essence Lash Princess mascara, and I love the way that it applied and made my lashes look, but it just smudged like crazy. So I've been having that issue with some of my mascaras, or they just don't give me volume. So I finally went ahead and quote unquote splurged on this one, and I say that because mascaras are so expensive in the drugstore now unless you're buying Essence, and you guys know that L'Oreal has like borderline high-end prices, so it definitely hurts me a little bit to spend more than $10 on a mascara. And I'm from Canada, so things are like crazy expensive here right now. But yeah, I'd rather have one thing that I really enjoy than a million cheap things that don't really work for me. And mascara lately happens to be one of those things where it's like one either works or doesn't. And it's not like I switch out mascaras or anything for fun. I just use the same one over and over again. It's not like you can really tell if someone's wearing a different mascara. Perfect Lashes built up so quickly and so beautifully, gives you volume, separates. It's my no-fail mascara. I've been using my NYX lip liner in Natural for months now, but I just went back to my Milani lip liner in the shade All Natural. This one I had literally used for years and years, and I kid you not, I've probably repurchased like 20 of these already. To me, this is one of those perfect pinky nudes for medium brown skin, but even if you're a lighter skin tone, this would look so beautiful on you. This would be like just a slightly deeper natural lips look. This is my go-to shade for clients, and most of my clients are from a light to light medium range. This looks stunning on all of them. If you're Canadian, you can order this from well.ca for like $4 each. So I literally buy like 5 of them at once. If you try to get it in store, like when I go to Shoppers Drug Mart, which is like if you're from the US, it is like your CVS or Walgreens. Shoppers Drug Mart has crazy prices. Like I'll go to a Walmart or anywhere else and it's at its normal price, and then I go to Shoppers Drug Mart and it's like 20% more in the price, which is insane. So yeah, if you're ordering this lip liner, get it from well.ca because it's so cheap. And then contouring with my Rimmel lip liner in the shade Brownie Pie. Any brown will do. This is just one that I found that I've been using for the past few months. I have one more item from e.l.f. that's been sitting in my stash for a couple months that I just opened and I completely forgot about, and that is their O Face satin lipstick in the shade Dirty Talk. So here's the shade. It is actually pretty pink. It looks more neutral pink in person, but yeah, on camera it looks pretty pink. And this is actually such an incredible formula. I've tried a lot of drugstore lipstick formulas, and this one you can't tell that it's drugstore. It looks high-end, it feels high-end, and it's such a comfortable like satin matte on the lips. The original shade that I got was No Doubt, which is a beautiful beigey pink, and this is No Doubt in comparison. Both beautiful nudes. I'm gonna take it over. So it's like this baby pink nude on medium skin tones, and I don't think this is gonna be very popular with a lot of medium skin tone people because you might not like this light of a pink because it could make you look a little bit dead. But I always use brown lip liner to contour and give definition to the lips. However light my lipsticks are, I think this is the lightest that it probably goes. And then I think if my blush was my normal pink or rosy undertone instead of this coral, it would match with the lips a lot better. So yeah, that is the lip shade. It is not my favorite pink. I feel like last year I would have been in love with the shade, but since I discovered Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk Medium, I've definitely been more into the deeper nudie pinks, which is also why I don't wear my nude pinky beiges as much anymore. Literally, Pillow Talk Medium is what I wear every single day for the most part, but this is still a really pretty shade. Put a tiny dot of that liquid blush because it's got that right undertone, and I'm just gonna blend it out. Yeah, so that's definitely better. I think the different undertones of blush and lipstick were really throwing me off, but I do want to try that Dirty Talk shade with a more pinky blush another time and see how it goes together. So that's the finished look. This is everything that I've been loving on the regular lately. I feel like my skin looks so healthy and plump. I love the Haus Labs foundation. I feel like if you haven't tried it, you need to like run and get a sample or just get it. Let me know down in the comments below if you've tried any of these and what you think about them. But until next time, I hope you have a great week. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.